What's going on YouTube? Leafy here. Welcome back to the channel. So today I've got for you a little Team of the Year card review. You might notice my background is different, as well as my mic probably sounds a little bit different, probably a little bit quieter, a little bit worse. That's because I'm visiting my parents for the week, so I don't have my Xbox with me. I can't make any fresh NHL content, and this is why I'm late a little bit to this video as well. But I wanted to just make a little bit of content on Team of the Year because I didn't do a full event details, but I still wanted to share my thoughts on all these cards, give you guys a little bit of insight on what I think of these cards and who I think are the best ones and which ones I think are worth making. Just give a shout out to @GrayDestiny Fausto on Twitter. He posted these screenshots so that I was able to do this, so I'm using these pictures from his screenshots on Twitter. Again, I don't have my Xbox with me, so these aren't my screenshots. I don't have a 91 overall team or 2 million coins, so if you were wondering, you know, where this came from, where all those coins are, or what I plan on doing with the coins, they're not mine, so these are my screenshots. But let's dive right in. So we'll go forwards, defense, and then we'll take a look at the goalies. So first up, we got Draisaitl. He's one of the 93s, or 293s in this set. Best forward overall wise. You know, if you've watched some of my pack opening videos, you know what I think of Draisaitl. He's always been a bit lackluster as far as skating goes, and that's definitely the big knock on him in general. Really, you know, he's always had a good shot. He has good, you know, hands. Decent size, 6'2", 208 is pretty good size, and as far as, you know, defense goes, good stick checking, good defensive awareness. You know, there's not really a whole lot to complain about except for the bad face-off. So this card all around is really, really good. There's a high rating in everything except for speed and acceleration. Those are two attributes that we really consider to be the most important in NHL 21. So it's definitely something to consider when you're making this card. As far as synergies go, he's got distributor, swarm, and workhorse. These are all synergies that boost speed, acceleration, and agility. Well, I guess speed, agility, and then acceleration, but so he gets a boost if you do activate all these synergies. And he has 2 points in each of them. It does boost his skating stats quite a bit, but you can only get him up to a 90 speed. So I do like the card. I do. I think, you know, I think shooting is a little bit underrated in this game. I think that people, you know, always look at speed right away. It's like the first thing you look at when you look at a card is what's its speed rating. Second thing, acceleration. Then you might take a look at shots, hands, etc. So I do think this shot is really important in this game, and it always is, because, you know, those wrist shot, those snipes, especially the, you know, the kind of snipes that you tend to look for when some of these skills learning. It's really important to have good shots and good shot ratings when you're trying to hit those snipes, because, you know, a lot of times you run into people that are skill zoning or whatever. It's hard to counter those with passing across because that's what they're trying to cover. So you use the shots to kind of as your main form of offense, and so it's important to have those high shot ratings. So I do think that this card is good. Whether or not, you know, it's worth the price of making a Team of the Year, it probably is. You know, I think that a 90 speed is high enough for right now. Unfortunately, and, you know, we know with these Team of the Year cards that we do expect them to go up. So, you know, every 2 upgrades, which is kind of annoying, you know, he'll get 1 extra speed for every 2 upgrades. You know, it does make the card a little bit less attractive, but I do think it's worth it. I do think it's worth considering getting this card because, you know, like I said, he's good in literally everything except for face-offs and speed and acceleration, and I think that there's a lot of value to be had. I think it's going to be an underrated card just because of its 87 speed only, but, you know, pretty much everyone has distributor activated at this point in the game if you've been playing it since October, and, you know, I really do, like I said, I really do think that this card is worth it, even if, you know, it is a little bit slower than you would expect from most cards this high rated. Alright, moving on to the David Pastrnak. This is David Pastrnak, 91 overall, right-handed sniper, right wing, obviously from the Boston Bruins, 6 foot, 194, and he's got 2 points in Swarm, Heart and Soul, and Howitzer. So I do like the Swarm and Howitzer for sure. You know, you get the speed and the shot power from Howitzer, agility from Swarm. It's important. Heart and Soul, I think, is the worst synergy in the game, personally, so I'm not a fan of that, and I don't think it's really worthwhile. So it sucks to have, you know, invest so much in this card and you're only getting one of the 2 team synergies that you're really going to use. I don't expect to ever see anybody really with a high-end team have Heart and Soul activated. I think it is the worst synergy in the game, like I said, so that's tough. 90 speed, 93 if you have distributor activated. You get him up to 99 agility with his synergies. It's up to 96 speed if you have distributor and howitzer, so that's really, really good. As always with the David Pastrnak card, he has really high shot accuracy, not quite the shot power that Draisaitl had, but, you know, we expect the 93 obviously to have a bit higher in the shooting categories. You know, his defense and checking, I mean, this is a winger, so, you know, it's a sniper. It's not really what you go to David Pastrnak for. You're not trying to get body checking or strength or that kind of thing. I mean, he does have a reasonably high defensive awareness, but it's not really that important for the wingers. So I do think this card is solid. Obviously you can get that speed to be pretty high with the howitzer, and it does have 2 points in it too. Not that it's really been a struggle to activate a howitzer, but having 2 points in those player synergies, it doesn't seem like it's a lot. But you end up with a lot more of them if you do have multiple points from players, because and the boost is nice. You don't really go for player synergies too much, other than like House or Speedster you probably might have. But other than that, you don't really go for them too much. And I think that having multiple point players in these allow you to have these smaller boosts to your team. And when you have a lot of those, it kind of adds up. So I do like this card. Unfortunately, I can't really support the team synergies too much. I think Swarm is, I think I would put Swarm at the same level as, I would put it below Distributor and Spark, right? So I would say Distributor is the best. I think Spark is second best. And then I would probably say, there's a debate between Swarm and Barrage, because I don't think having that agility boost is that important. Having it only be 8 points is really nice, though. And of course, having a 2-point player in among that 8 points, it makes it really easy to get. But I don't really see so much value in these team synergies, and I don't think having Swarm is that important. Like I said, again, Heart Soul, worst synergy in the game, in my opinion. So, this card, it's good if you're a David Pastrnak fan, but I would probably go for the next one instead, which is Panarin. And, I think, in my opinion, this card is objectively better. It can't get quite as high of a speed rating as the Pastrnak, because it doesn't have that howitzer, but it does have Wingman, which boosts acceleration. It has balance, which is the second worst or worse. I mean, depending on your point of view, they're both like pretty terrible. Balance and Heart and Soul, I don't think anybody should ever go try to activate them. But it has Barrage, and there's a lot of people that say Barrage is among the best synergies in the game. Personally, I don't think the shot power is that important, or Slapshot is that important. But there's, if your playstyle is going for those D2D one-timers all the time, I would say it's definitely worth it. And I mean, since that patch recently where they upgraded the shot powers to really, like, if you have a high shot power, it's a rocket, that kind of stuff is really nice. So I think this Panarin is definitely better than the Pastrnak. If I was going to go, I mean, they're both right-handed, so if I was going to go for one of these right-handed wingers, it would definitely be the Panarin, personally. The size difference is, well, I mean, Pasternak's an inch taller. He's about a little less than 30 pounds heavier, so he's got a little bit beefier, but not really by much. And I just think, like, the shot accuracy on this Panarin is 97 compared to 96, and the shot powers can really be balanced out, and especially if you have the barrage activated. So the big difference here is just that howitzer. And considering that Panarin is small, he's always played pretty fast. I don't think it's that big of a deal. So I do think that this card is the best, or is better, and I think it's probably your best bet. I think this is my favorite among the forwards. I can't really get behind that Draisaitl too much, just because of the speed and how meta speed is in this game. I'm probably a little bit crazy because the card is so good otherwise, and it probably is really, really good, but this Panarin is definitely my favorite of the forward group. So now moving on to defense, we got Victor Hedman, 6'6", 223, left-handed defenseman. Obviously, the big draw for Hedman is that he's huge and always has good defense ratings, 96 defense awareness, 93 body checking, 96 strength, 96 stick checking, so he's got it all there. And the big knock on him is that he's slow. I mean, he's huge, so you don't really expect a fast skater. And 86 speed, 89 if you have distributor activated, and then he's got the 85 acceleration, but he does have Spark. And 2 points of Spark I think is really good. I really like Spark. I think it's second best team synergy. It's going to be the one that I go for when I get a second team synergy in my team personally. I think acceleration is really good, and I think, like, you don't really notice the effects of acceleration until you have it, but these players really get to high-end top speed so fast when they have high acceleration rating, and it really makes a huge difference, especially when you're playing against a team that has both distributor and Spark, but you only have distributor, and it kind of feels like their players are flying. And it's simply because it's not because they're faster top-end speed, but it's because they get to that top-end speed so much faster because of that Spark. So I think it's really important. His shots, it's okay. Slap shot accuracy is obviously pretty bad. But wrist shot accuracy is obviously pretty bad, but, I can't imagine that you're going to be using the, wrist shots with Victor Hedman too much. You're probably going to be going for those D2D bombs. And, the slap shot power is pretty high. Accuracy is not great, but it's still okay. And the big knock to this card, I think you said, he has Heart and Soul and Shutdown. I think both of these synergies are very, very weak. But I do think Spark is really strong. And I think, you know, what it seems like, or what it feels like EA is doing here, is they're kind of balancing out good attributes with bad synergies. Or maybe they're trying to put these, you know, bad team sims on good cards so that people use them more. I don't really know. But either way, I mean, somebody's got to have Heart and Soul and Balance, and I guess it's going to be these Team of the Years, because not every card's going to have Distributor Spark or Distributor Swarm or, you know, Barrage Spark or something like that. So, you know, I think this card is good. I would love to have this on my team. I think he's going to be a solid defenseman. I do, because top end speed is so important, you know, this is a guy that, if I'm going to have this Victor Hedman on my team, I would want to pair him with a speedier player, because, you know, you definitely want to have that speed in transition so that when, you know, the other team's Gila Fleur is flying down the wing, you have something that can kind of keep up with that. And on that note, we have Cale Makar, 92, 5'11", 187, right-handed defenseman. This is the only 92 of the set, and he's got 2 points, Barrage, Balance, and Gladiator. I think Gladiator is a solid synergy. It hasn't really been seen too much. I haven't used it just because I haven't had any players that actually have it, but it's a good synergy. You know, again, Barrage just kind of depends on where you stand. Like, if you're the guy that really likes the D2D one-timers, you really take those a lot. You really value that high slap shot versus, you know, somebody who definitely values the skating. But I do like Barrage on a card like this because, you know, if you're really going to have those speed synergies, you know, you don't need it on this card because he's got, if you have Distributor, he's got 96 speed. If you have Spark, he's got 96 acceleration. Already has 99 agility. And, you know, this is a fast player. You're not going to find much faster in the game right now. If you even can at all. You know, I don't have all the cards memorized off the top of my head, but I can't really think of a card that's much faster than this right now. And so, you know, the big dog to Cale Makar obviously is his size. He has the defensive attributes there. He has 91 defensive awareness, 95 stick checking, 89 body checking, 90 strength. You know, those things are there, but when it comes to actually using body checking and strength, you know, you're not really going to get those big hits off unless you're hitting somebody of similar size, because, you know, anybody bigger, you might get shrugged off, or you're only going to be able to get bumps off. And, you know, bumps can be really effective, but it's not going to be as a reliable solution to your defensive problems as a Victor Hedman, right? So it's kind of what I was saying with where I want to pair a guy like Victor Hedman with a guy like Cale Makar. And I think, you know, if you can afford it, which obviously these cards are extremely expensive, but if you can afford it, this top line pairing would be insane for you, because you get that one, you know, really shut down defenseman on one side, you get the speed guy on the other side, so that, you know, if the other team is flying down the wing in transition or something, you know, they do a stretch pass to a Gila Floor or something like that, flying down the wing, you have somebody that can easily counter that, keep up with it on the backside. So this card is really strong. It has good skating, good shooting, good hands. I mean, it has it all really. And, you know, it's funny because we can't do this anymore where you could put defenseman on forward and forward on defense, but honestly this would be a card that I would consider putting on my wing because it really is that strong offensively. But, you know, that's not really an option for us anymore, but I still think it's a really strong card, and, you know, I like it. Some people can't stand having small defensemen. They don't like that ability to hit, and I mean, I totally get that. I think, you know, when it comes to being okay with small defensemen, it kind of depends on your play style. You know, whether if you're kind of, you know, somebody who goes for poke checks more, or if you do go for those hits a lot, then maybe this isn't the guy for you. But I do think his synergies are okay. You know, again, balanced. I mean, there's literally every single person on this team of the year, except for Draisaitl, has a weak synergy, so a weak team synergy. I think all of them either have Balanced or Heart and Soul, as you can see, so there's really no getting around that at this point in time. So, you know, there's a knock on all of them. Obviously for Makar, it's Balanced, and the fact that he has the fact that he's small, but you know, if you handle that small. But ultimately, if you're okay with having a small defenseman, this is an incredible card for you, 100%. Finally, we got Andrei Vasilevskiy, and, you know, we always say on this channel, on my stream, on my YouTube, everything that I make content on, I always say goalies don't matter, and it's true. I mean, they really don't. The goalie ratings do not matter at all. You really just gotta find a goalie that works for you, and you gotta play defense. I mean, that's simply put. You know, these goalies, these high-rated goalies, they're not gonna make that enough of a difference in the game to justify the price tag. It's simply not. But that being said, if you are in a position where you can afford to get this Vasilevskiy and not really take away from the rest of your team, I'm not saying that you should do this, but what I am saying is this man has 2 points in Distributor, Spark, and Swarm. And, I mean, to be honest with you, that's just incredible. I mean, there's, 6 points in 3 skating team synergies. I mean, that's like a huge boost to the squad. And I mean, if I'm EA, this is exactly what I would do, because you already know that people undervalue goalies a ton. They already feel like goalies don't matter. And that's what we always say, is that goalies don't matter. But they're really trying to entice you to get this card because they're putting 2 points in these 3 synergies that, people love. There's no balance. Like I just said, every single card other than Draisaitl on the team of the year has either balance or heart and soul. And nobody wants those synergies. I mean, they're just bad. They're just bad synergies. And then we cut to Vasilevskiy, and for some reason, it's really strange, but for some reason, he doesn't have balanced or heart and soul. He has Distributor, Spark, and Swarm. And, some people would prefer the Swarm to be Barrage for sure. But in general, I think that they did a really good job of making this card just enough in those synergies to make it, you really think about whether you want it. And, I mean, if I could have this, I would 100% take it for sure, but I don't have the coinage, to make this kind of card. I don't really, I'm not rich enough in HUT to want to spend this much to have a goalie, because I know that every time they let in a bad goal, and every goalie in NHL 21 does, they always let in the dumbest goals, just the weakest something, and happens like basically every game. And you just know that every time that one of those goes in, it's just gonna hurt that much more that you spent so much on a goalie. But I mean, 6 points, like I said, in these team synergies, it's so good for your team building. And I mean, yeah, they did a really good job of making this card enticing. So in conclusion, I can never recommend making a goalie, because what I just said, they're always going to let in those bad goals. It's always going to feel bad. It's always going to feel like, you get stabbed in the back. You spent all this on a card, on a goalie, and it's not even better than the 83 Ben Bishop that you were using before. So I can't recommend that you make this card. However, if you do have that much disposable HUT coins, maybe you consider it, and you're really fine with dumping that much into a goalie. Maybe you consider it, because the synergies and the team building potential here is insane. But that's gonna do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think. If you agree, disagree with anything I said in this video, please let me know. Comments down below. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all the support, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one.